In case you didn't know, there is something really cool and very cute available. It's the Shad Plushy! Check it out! Look at how cute this guy is. Look at him. And he is available, link in the description. So, limited time, thing. So, get one while you can. And if they do well, we might even be able to do some expanded, I get one of Tyranth and Nate, maybe even Nathan as well. So check it out, it's a plushie available, for a short time. Welcome back to The Watch, and Nathan, I get to talk about one of my favorite topics.
Swords?
I do like swords.
Castles?
I do like castles.
Oh, it must be.
I really like
another
AI
one of these
art.
videos. I don't have a choice, but he traps me. He traps me. It's a trap.
But it's topical. It's come up in the conversation online. And it's kicked off because of the Pal World controversy. Now, we've already discussed Pal World. The idea of, how much is it copying? Is it ripping off? What's our thoughts on that? You can check out that video. This, I want to talk about AI a bit because there's been some accusations, and more significantly, there's been some controversy from a take that Asmongold had on the topic. He, because of the Pal World stuff, it came up in his discussion on the stream, and he dropped a bit of a bomb that has triggered the internet. When I say trigger the internet, Twitter, okay? And I am not a stranger to triggering Twitter in the order.
So you empathise with him?
Yes, I've a bit, though his one is 42 million views. Most people probably just dogpiling the crap out of it. Although it has 44,000 hearts and only 3,000, so it's not ratioed here. So maybe there's more people. But then, are they agreeing with Asmon or the brain dead comment? That one's hard to say. So I think it's 14 million was the one that I had that triggered Twitter, and my name was trending. And before then, I think it was 7 million. So.
I went to a game dev meetup when that was happening, and a friend came to me and said, "Nathan, is your boss trending on Twitter right now with the AI art stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was it."
Because I am an advocate and defender of AI art, not AI generally. I think there are some concerns about AI generally, but the focus in on AI art, I've done videos on it and everything, and so of course I have some thoughts on this, and I will respond to Asmongold's take, give some clarification, because there's already misunderstanding about it. And that's kind of the thing that I'm also like, so much misinformation is still rampant about AI. I've addressed every single one of these claims that come up. I've got videos on it. You had a thought?
I mean, just misinformation in general right now. I think that's the biggest issue on the internet right now.
There's
no correct information anymore.
Now, people are concerned that Pal World creator might have used AI to generate some of the designs of the Pals. And their concern comes from the same tired old misinformation about it's theft. It's taking assets from copyright protected art that was trained off of without consent and all that stuff. And I've addressed every single one of these on my videos, okay? And to just try and briefly touch on it here, the images that all AI models are trained off of do not exist in the resulting models. They're not kept, they're not stored, okay? AI art is not a collage machine. The training process literally is a process to teach an AI what something looks like. So if you're inputting all these images of cats, it's not storing these images of cats. It's training off these images to learn what a cat looks like. So when you type in, give me an image of a cat, it creates a brand new image of a cat from a diffusion pattern, a Gaussian blur pattern. Did not exist in the blur, and it literally renders a new image based off the training. Now, there's cases of overfitting and where, because you can get guess what, Nathan? You can get AI images to copy other images if you tell it to. Right. Okay. If you do like a natural prompt, it's basically 0 to no chance that you'll ever get like an image of the Mona Lisa or something that was trained off of one for one, unless something in the prompt told it to. Like if you type in Bloodborne, well, there's some really iconic images of the Bloodborne IP. And if there's nothing else, guess what? Same as if you typed in Mona Lisa. Shocking. What will you get out of that? But if you're trying to do a complex prompt where you're trying to do something, do this with this style, right? It's going to be completely brand new. All right. And so the idea that it's theft, all right, is if you obtain someone's intellectual property, copyrighted material legally, you can then do anything you want with it that's within the bounds of the law. Right. So if I obtain footage from a copyrighted movie, right, I obtain it legally, I purchase it, I can use that footage in review, okay, in parody, and it's copyrighted material, but I can do whatever. I can wipe my butt with it, burn it. These are all legal uses of copyrighted material. It might be disrespectful. People might not think it's nice, but it's legal. You're allowed to use copyrighted works in transformative ways, and the training process, because the resulting training models don't retain. It's not even, it's so transformative, it doesn't even exist in the resulting model or products. It's not actually theft or stealing, and you don't need consent to train stuff because it's not in breach of copyright. If they obtain the images legally, and here's the thing, if you distribute images online, like publishing them online, you are distributing them globally. If it's available to see publicly, you've globally distributed everyone. Anyone who opens that image on their computer, you've allowed them, you've given them that digital asset. That's obtaining it legally. And so once they have it legally, they can use it in transformative ways, and training on AI things is transformative. And so using AI to create pals, if it's not a one-for-one thing, there's no legal issue. And so Asmongold was getting some, flack. Let's talk about this. And his clip starts, you might not, I'll give the context here, okay? Because this is his take on AI.
To expect me to draw a moral line, I have to perceive a difference that I consider substantial.
Okay, so people are saying, what different moral line between what? I've already heard him talk about this, and this is his position. He does not see a moral difference between an artist looking at someone else's art, taking inspiration from, taking ideas, and redrawing. There are so many people who make up their own Pokemon, right? And it's in the Pokemon style. They're taking inspiration from Pokemon to duplicate that style, all right, but creating something new. And if it's not a one-for-one copy of an existing, it's perfectly legal, all right? And so what Asmongold is saying is that he does not see a large distinction between an artist doing that and an AI image generating model that was trained off of existing images that uses and is not used as reference, okay, that literally teaches the AI, this is what this style is. And then when you put in a prompt, it creates a brand new image, not a collage, right, in the style according to the prompt that you're asking. He does not see a moral difference between what the AI does and what artists have been doing for ages. And this has been a common defense with AI. It's actually really equivalent. And so listen to that now in context.
To expect me to draw a moral line, I have to perceive a difference that I consider substantial. And I do not consider the difference substantial.
And so that's the difference between, again, an artist taking inspiration, copying style, versus an AI. You can't copyright style. Like, people have been copying the anime style for ages, copying other artistic styles, and that's perfectly legal. Plagiarism happens is when you copy an image one for one, okay? But even if you copy elements like the pose, if there's enough transformative elements in it, it's completely transformative, okay? So that's the kind of, people have not understood the context of what he says in the beginning of that clip. And then what he goes on to say now, well, it triggered the internet. Let's hear what he says and share our thoughts on it.
Do you guys? No. Right. No. And that's really what matters. If it was made with AI, I'm completely okay with that because it was fun.
So this comment there, if it's made with AI, I'm completely okay with it because it was fun. I don't think this is Asmongold trying to say, justifying any immoral kind of acts because it's fun, but he is pointing something out that most people, because one, the morality of AI isn't as terrible, it's not even evil or illegal as what people have been claiming and fear-mongering about. So that doesn't apply. But he does give certain equivalent or comparisons to, there's all these people making moral, standards, and they're posturing and stuff, how terrible this is, when they still buy products made from sweatshops, and ultimately people don't actually they might claim that they care, but the larger consensus society, they don't. If it's a cheap available product, people still buy it. You know, people still buy cage eggs or free range, but like it's a small thing, but it's still cage eggs are still sold. And so when he says I'm okay with it because it's fun, is saying that he doesn't agree with the moral outrage, and that was understood by the first thing that he said. When you understand that in context, all right. And then if people try and say it's lazy or whatever, like it made a good quality product that people are enjoying. And he points this out, and I think he emphasizes a bit more later on as well, with all the supposed outrage about AI and all the people losing their minds on Twitter, the hate mobs that jumped on me, that jumped on Asmongold and stuff, right? They do not represent the actual large consensus or view on AI. And this is one point of evidence, because even if all the pals were made with AI in Pal World, people don't care. Like, it gives them a good quality product that they like, interesting, that's fun. They don't care if it's AI or not. It's fun. That's ultimately going to be the thing, because most people are perfectly like, AI is AI. They don't lose their mind. They don't think it's crazy. Like, AI is not. It's here to stay, and it's just getting more and more accepted. By the way, people have been using AI already for a while. Like, you know how many processes in Photoshop that artists have been using that are AI founded?
Yeah.
Like the cloud generation render thing. That's an AI algorithm that generates that from nothing, from static. Like, it generates an image, which is a cloud diffuse pattern. Similar process that's happening, right? And then they can use it, manipulate, and create crazy things just with that cloud tool. I've used it heaps, right? They don't have an issue with that, all right? Like, there are so many AI integrations in tools, especially Photoshop, that artists have been using for years that are equivalent in the same way that AI art generators generate images. And they use AI to, help them out with backgrounds, cut corners, do coloring. So many AI tools that, you can do, for instance, making textures. AI art image generators are great at making textures. They're brilliant, right? What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's just like game textures?
Yeah, well, I've used it to make a crystalline pattern that I needed to put a texture on my sword in my graphic novel.
Yeah.
And I used AI to create a crystal pattern and stuff. And I actually have seen some game textures and stuff.
Because I've tried and it sucks.
Well, it depends how you use it, then, Nathan.
Well, it's just easy to hand draw it sometimes.
Yeah, it is. Well, actually. But yeah, making certain textures, right? Now, they will still object with the texture if you made it with AI, even though you can make equivalent textures with Photoshop tools that are AI founded. They're equivalent, but one is bad, and it's the whole, they claim that it's because of how it's made with AI, because of AI is immoral, yet they completely ignore the fact that there are so-called ethical AI image generating models like Adobe Firefly that was only trained off of public domain and licensed images that many people are using. And when I bring that, I've had debates with people where I said, hey, you're trying to morally posture that it's so bad that you claim it's theft, it's not theft and everything, but you do realize AI is already going in a way that it's not founded, trained off of intellectual stuff, right? Copyrighted works. You'll be okay. Does that mean you're okay with it? No, they're still not okay with it, because they just hate AI. And the reasons that they've been trying to latch onto to justify their dislike for it, like it's theft and everything, means nothing. Because as soon as you address that and take it out, the bias and dislike for AI is still there. And so it's not actually, they don't have an issue with that it's theft. They just have an issue with AI and people being able to use it, and it's a threat. Many artists see it as a threat when it could be a tool, and artists are in a position to benefit from AI more than anyone else. But let's continue listening what Asmongold says.
The evidence
It
is
doesn't
that
matter. Nobody really
the
cares about
lead
this.
developer has
Yeah,
been very positive about AI.
Nobody says nobody really cares about this. Again, public at large. Except for the people crying on Twitter. Outside of that, no one really cares. AI. What are your thoughts?
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I think it's the same with social media. It's going to take decades before people realize the effect certain technologies have. Like, are people going to be more depressed now because they can't work on the art they're used to? That used to be very therapeutic to them as a job now that they can't do that anymore. So we're going to have more depressed people. It's like same with social media. At first, people were like, it's great to talk to like grandparents overseas, but now I'm always sad because there's a feed that always gives me dopamine and makes me sad. Like, I feel like, although it might not be, like, you can argue whether it's ethical or not ethical, I reckon there's also things that we aren't aware of yet that may also cause an issue to stuff.
Possibly. But I think Asmongold's answer also answers like concerns people, raise with social media. No one really cares. Everyone still uses it.
You just get therapy instead, Don't delete Facebook, just,
Like, exactly,
Well, that's the issue. It's like you should delete Facebook and not go to therapy because you don't need it if you don't, like...
But no one really cares and they still use it. Like, because it's convenient. And, like, I'm not sure that I actually think AI is going to become more accepted in terms of, I'm talking about AI art when I say AI. I think, like I said, there are concerns I have with chat models and the way that might be used and integrated in society going forward. But AI art in its self-contained thing is incredible. I think it's one of the most amazing artistic tools humanity has ever made, and it creates accessibility for people to depicting their visions and all that stuff. I think it's amazing. And I think the acceptance of it is just going to become more and more common, especially as it's integrated into Adobe Photoshop now. And so there's a tool now in Adobe called Generative Fill, where you can just select something in an image. And like if someone is wearing a suit and yet they have a tie, you could just select the thing and say remove tie. And Generative Fill bang, it's gone. That you telling me like most people are not going to use that, who use Photoshop to bulk. It is such a useful tool.
Yeah.
Like, and it's crazy. Like you can change the color of dresses, entire outfits with this generative tool feature. And it's Adobe Firefly. It's based off of the so-called ethical models. I think regular training is also ethical, but for even people who have an objection with it, they can't object to Adobe Firefly. It's all public domain and licensed images to create this AI image generating model. And people are just going to use it. It's so useful. It's there. If you buy Photoshop, you get it. Like,
comes with it.
AI in the past and made an AI game.
We're gonna play
called
this, by the way.
AI Art Imposter that lets an AI artist draw a picture. And so that was like one of the games.
We're gonna be playing this week.
Yes, just generally has been much more positive about some of the benefits of AI rather than what is the normal sentiment amongst artists and I guess general Twitter population.
Sorry, he's watching a video clearly.
Yeah.
And responding.
Which is that AI is bad and it takes jobs from people.
Well, AI and the sentiment from artists opinions don't matter. It just doesn't matter, because what matters is the opinion of the people that are buying the product.
What are your thoughts on this?
I think it does matter because we've seen examples of, taking AI out of it. When Blizzard had controversies of, certain accusations of things, if their games were still okay, do you think people would still buy their game knowing that the people who worked in it were treated poorly?
Most people probably. If it was good, like this is when something is genuinely good and people want it because it's like they want a good game. Yeah.
Because like if that's the case, then all right, cool. But I don't know. As an artist, I'm just like there is, especially with games as well. Because I went to a game jam over the weekend actually.
Yeah.
And I saw developers work on games, and they're just a little magic sprinkle that people add to creative forms at once. That I think, of course, there's assistance you can get with the fact that we make video games with computers. That in of itself is an assistance tool.
But like the very idea of rendering a 3D image into like with the lighting, everything like that, that's a complete like computerized process to finalize an image that the artist isn't doing themselves.
Yes. There's still artistry in it, and that's what I'm saying with AI art. You still need that artistry.
Exactly.
My concern is when AI tools get to the point where they are so accessible and people are okay with a certain level that just you're going to lose that magic touch from people because people want to just play a certain thing or have a certain experience that you're no longer going to have I don't know, like art forms. Like it's the same way of like if you go to a general store and buy a chair compared to a handcrafted one. Sure, that a general store one's going to be all good and work fine, but there's just something about that handcrafted one that when you sit down at night, you're going to be like, oh, this is a nice chair. It's that element of artistry.
But what you pointed out is proof that modernization of an industry doesn't take away the fact that people sometimes still want the handcrafted higher version. There's still going to be handmade art that people are going to want.
Yes, there will be.
But it just means that there's going to be more accessible, more affordable, really high quality art for people to both make and consume, which opens up accessibility. And that little kind of human touch sprinkle you're talking about, that's going to set standard AI art apart from the best AI art. The best AI art is the stuff that has human artistic input to make it really, really stand out, to have meaning behind it. And so I do think that's going to be there still. And then you have the handcrafted side that is still available.
I think there will be a time where games made with AI and we're going to have there's going to be too many games, I think. We're getting to the point already now where there's not enough time in the year to play every single new game that comes out, even if you have no life, like if that's all you do. And I also think that's going to cause... I had a point and I forgot about it.
But let me jump on that then, because I think even if certain markets get oversaturated, the cream is going to rise to the surface. Okay.
I remember now. My point is going to be that there's going to be so much AI generated games to the point where people are going to be seeking for the more, made by one man that did this by himself.
Possibly.
Like I think and it's going to ebb and flow back and forth because once it's, for example, the most recent game, it's Lethal Company. Made by one kid basically in a game in Unity, and it's like a mining game where you go and have to get resources and get chased by monsters, and it's funny or co-op. We're going to start seeing more of those now by AAA companies because of the format. The same thing happened with Fortnite and the battle royales. Like this is how it happens all the time, and so each time that someone comes up with a new idea, then everyone else is going to copy this thing. And I'm guessing that most companies who use AI to make their games aren't going to be the one making new things, but they're going to be copying off what's already successful and making those.
Possibly, but I think you'll see some surprising innovation with AI because it's going to enable indie studios to now make some new stuff.
The annoying thing with AI, Shad, is that they're making tools for things like art and 3D model. I'm okay with making art and 3D models. So what I want you to do is do like UV unwrapping for me. Texturing is something that I would appreciate, or even just having smarter AI or things that make games run better. Like all the actual annoyances of making in this medium aren't being resolved. They're doing other things instead.
Well, I think the tools, if there's a desire, a need that needs to be filled, that could be answered.
But they're not doing it.
It'll go that way.
They're not doing it, Shad.
They will push it that way.
I don't think so. I reckon they'll surpass all of that and just have, here's the model that you made it with your prompts or with what you want with your input. They're not going to actually do the annoying stuff. It's like, we still have Amazon factories. We have robots now that could do it, but people are still hired to do the job. But then we have AI doing more creative things instead. Like I feel like there's a gap in what we actually need to be more creative, and they're not fulfilling that because people are more excited with the other stuff.
Maybe. That's an interesting thought. I mean, if the model that you can make with AI is just as good or better, though, I would still say that as a net benefit. And people who want to make the handcrafted models, all power to them. But I think there's already AI getting better and better at motion capping just video images to the point where you'll probably be able to do mocap, really high quality mocap level stuff without needing a mocap studio. Motion capture. That's insane. That's freaking amazing. Especially for me, who's interested in exploring like animation and stuff. Like that's
good because that's a tool you can actually end up using to animate stuff. But then when you start taking away the fun part, I think is the main thing that like artists and developers have annoyance in. You're taking away the fun part.
Photography didn't stop people from painting portraits. If people enjoy something, they're going to still do it, regardless if there's a technology that enables you to be done for you. So people will still do the stuff that they love. But now I want to just jump on what Asmongold says, where he says, artists' opinions don't matter. Because I think there's a bit of charity and context that I think we should apply. Because I think it's clear from context what he's saying here is that artists crying about people consuming AI products don't matter. If the product is good and people want it, doesn't matter how much artists claim it's morally bad and woe is me and jobs lost, it's not going to, one, it's not going to matter because people don't care. And two, the jobs lost thing, like whenever someone says like AI is going to replace a job, it's like, no. The job will be replaced by a person using AI. If an artist is replaced by AI art, they're going to be replaced by a human making AI art. This is a new industry that is requiring a new skill set, people talented in using certain tools. And so it's actually potentially, like, I think, going to create even more opportunities, okay? Especially for people who might not have been able to compete. Like they didn't have not only the natural ability to depict the imagination and vision they have in their head because they just don't have, I don't know, coordination or hand ability or anything. There's also disabled people who were once artists that can't make the art that they once did, that AI art is enabling them to make again. That's phenomenal. That's amazing. And so I see so much opportunity and potential. And the fact that, because look, yes, there are going to be jobs lost to AI. One, you know, if it's like anime localizers doing a crappy job and subverting the original translation, or, you know, journalists who make crappy articles about why Pikachu is really gay or something like that, right? I'm happy for those jobs to get done. If AI can do a better, more genuine job than all that, I say good, right? Then it will create opportunities for other people. And it actually is going to create opportunities for small studios to be able to compete because they will be able to increase production output. And as I've been saying so often, the people who are in the best position to benefit from AI art are traditional artists. They can use AI to increase workflow, can increase output for concepting, for creating assets or backgrounds, or just applying their artistic vision and eye to create far better, more complex artistic pieces with the use of AI, so integrated or not, right? That'll just be better than any other AI anyone is producing. Have you seen the live AI generation that have like there's examples on Twitter where you have someone is digitally painting and there's a live action AI generating happening next to it, and so you can speak an artist who is a digital artist can get a final result in like 100th of the time. But because they understand proportion and certain color and posing and everything like that, the AI final rendered version will be vastly superior to someone who doesn't understand that. So absolutely, there are crazy uses, artistic uses of AI art with traditional methods that produce insane, incredible stuff. It's not just going to be one or the other. The greatest power is going with AI. The greatest things you'll be able to achieve with AI art is when artists use it in conjunction. And already we're seeing mind-blowing stuff. And so at the end of the day, though, if people make something that people like with AI, what artists complain about ultimately doesn't matter. One, because a lot of the moral posturing is actually founded on misinformation. And two, a lot of people don't care that heaps of people getting commissions to make furry porn art or whatever are going to lose a job because now people can get it from AI. It's like, no one gives a crap.
Yeah. My observation of this is I think we're going into like an industrial period of creative industry. We're in the cottage period right now. We have artists who will do all the drawing, all the coloring, or all of the elements that are needed. But now we're moving to the factories who can now churn out higher quality and more mass-produced material. And I'm not saying that's good or bad because there were good and bad things from the Industrial Revolution. But
I think the net is good though.
But now we've got 9-to-5 jobs now, Shad, and we can't go out and the amount of people that would just want to go back to farming and making clothes ourselves, but we've lost those skills.
Yeah, but then the fact that they almost died of starvation and so many commodities, luxuries were so expensive.
But I feel like we're more depressed now, you know? Like
I
back in the day...
I think that's a societal thing that might not necessarily associate so closely with technology. Like, I do think social media plays a role in it.
Yeah, but I also think
the 9-to-5 model isn't necessarily like a model that is locked in because of, you know, capitalistic systems and stuff. And yeah, because to me, there's no other point in human history where it is easier and more accessible for the average Joe to become wealthy than right now.
Yes.
It is crazy. The amount of financial freedom and mobility that anyone has is crazy. Like there is so much opportunity. Back in the day, yeah, there were farmers. And if they didn't want to be a farmer, they were basically screwed for most instances. They didn't have access to education, to opportunities, where now, if you don't like your job,
You can change.
you can change. You can, and their information is so accessible and free. You can educate yourself in complex fields. You could learn to be a qualified mechanic and never, just from the internet for free. This is insane, the opportunities available today. And a lot of this is the result of, modernization, industrial revolution, and all that stuff. It's crazy. Like the things that we buy for a couple of dollars, like linens, right? It's crazy how expensive they were in the past. So
Well, it's just the fact, like, yeah, you're right, Shad. Like, I just don't know what the future holds because of all of this. Like, it's, I feel like I would have been one of those guys back in the day that said, nah, I don't like the factories. Take me back to the country and, give me sickness and illness. As long as I have my 10 kids and, my home-built cabin, I'll be good.
But you could still do that if you want. You have the freedom to pursue these things, more freedom than before.
Well, because of the way that life... Okay, now we're getting into just society in general, but we can't do that anymore because I can't go and buy land because of the way that money's earned. I have to go to a job to, get the things that I need. There's just so many more societal things that have shifted now that there's actually things that aren't available to us anymore.
Possibly. Like, land is an interesting one. We are getting a little left of field because I still think there's great opportunity because, anyone can just try and think outside the box and have an idea.
Yes. I think the thing I'm trying to pull across is saying that, like, just because we're saying we're all okay with it doesn't always mean that that's a good thing.
And and I'm not saying that everything is perfect in society today. I just feel it's 100 times better than many instances in the past. Not in every instance.
No.
I think the breakdown of the family is causing massive problems in modern society. But that's kind of unrelated.
Yeah, but just going back to the AI stuff, I just think that there's a lot of unknowns. There's lots of things to be excited about, but there's also going to be, I think these are all just growing pains. That's what we're going through.
So artists' opinions don't matter, okay? So from the perspective that I think Asmongold is talking from, I completely agree. It's not to say artists can't have useful input as to what you can do with AI. What have I already said? I think artists can make the best AI art. They're the ones to benefit most. And in that sense, what they could bring to the table is very valuable. But the whole moral outcry is not only pointless, it's founded on misinformation and achieves nothing because at the end of the day, if people get a good product that's affordable, I'd agree with Asmongold here. If it's made with AI or not, people don't care. If it's affordable and good quality and fills that need, they'll buy it.
It makes me sad because I just think of like anime as an example, that there's people who are underpaid and overworked to bring you new seasons of shows and people don't care because they just want a new season. They don't really, there's no empathy of how it's made. They just want the sausage.
But now they probably will be able to make anime without
those people at all.
If they use AI to make anime, they'll be like less strenuous conditions, perhaps. All right, so we'll see what else he says.
Like, it doesn't, like, your opinion on it, like, just because you do it doesn't, like, nobody cares.
So just because you do art, no, like, I can see what he's saying here. This is interesting. Like, I have found artists legitimately insulted by AI art because people are able to make good quality art equivalent to what they make easier than what they can. And to me, it came off so negatively in gatekeeping because, one, AI art, because people can make great AI art with AI image generators, doesn't devalue the skill needed to make it by hand. That is still, I still value, I still respect, I think it's remarkable talent, okay? But then at the same time, who are you to try and resent the fact that other people now can make awesome images and depict their imagination? I come off as pretty scummy that you would take issue with the fact that other people now can make awesome art in a different way to you, but arguably to certain levels of quality, right? I do not see the resent that I've seen from artists that take issue with the fact that other people can now express their creativity, and just because they don't have to put in as much effort as them because they produce it with a different tool, is actually pretty sad. and it shows that they don't truly value what they're able to make with their own skill, because if they understood that, yeah, it's still a credit that you can make this in this more difficult way, that should give you value. That should be satisfying enough, being content enough. Like, it feels like artists need that validation from other people to find satisfaction in their art. And to me, relying so much on other people's affirmation is not a healthy mentality. And so, yeah, just because artists can do art, right? So, yeah, now other people can make art with AI. And when people resent, and artists resent, that people might claim to be an artist by making art with AI, right? And it's like, hang on. They're not claiming to be the same type of artist. They're not saying they made this by hand or they're as talented with hand-drawn, art with what they made, right? But some of the best AI, and by the way, I don't think all AI art is artistic. I think there's some really lazy slides that just people spew out there with a lazy prompt. But the thing is, though, what really annoys me is some people equivocate that to all AI art. All AI art is lazy, and you just put in a prompt and it takes no artistry at all. And that is just a really disingenuous deflection by not being willing to acknowledge the reality. It's like, because the reality contradicts their argument, so they want to strawman it and render and just present all AI art is lazy and it's just a prompt, when some of the best AI art takes artistry, takes effort, takes time to make, but they don't want to acknowledge that. And that's what triggered so many people on Twitter, because I was proving them wrong. I said, no, best AI art takes quality, and I gave them challenges like, all right, make this image that I made with AI art with just a prompt. It's impossible because I know the limitations of this technology, and to make what I made takes a lot of effort, and oftentimes drawing a handmade pose and all that stuff, right? And no one could succeed the challenge because I knew the limitations. And I was like, see, certain types of AI takes a lot of effort and even artistry, and I am perfectly okay with people claiming to be an artist with AI if they apply artistic intent. All right. And that's not me saying that they're the same or equivalent. I do not think a photographer is the same type of artist as a comic artist, someone who draws, or a cartoonist or something like that. And I don't think they're the same type of artist as a painter or a sculptor. I think these are different artistic mediums that have merit within their own sphere. And AI art, there's AI art that has more artistic merit than others, depending on the artistry you apply to it. And so again, the people that dismiss, it's just doing in a lazy prompt and you just do it a couple of 100 times until you finally get an image you like, is a really disingenuous oversimplification of what it is, to just dismiss the merit, because there is merit there.
Like it's not relevant. It's like whenever one of these really well respected and really respectable directors talks about how bad Marvel is. Shut up, old man. Shut up. I like watching the Thor movie. It was cool.
So that, again, an interesting take. Do you have any thoughts on that last comment? Because I was talking about, I think Martin Scorsese saying that that Marvel films are not real cinema, and it's like, no one cares that you are snobbing your nose at the films. We like it. It's fun, all right? Just because, and it's the same with the AI art. Like, there's a lot of artists, right, try and claim that all AI art looks like trash. And then if it looks like trash, why are you threatened by it? And then if it's trash, why do people like it and want to consume it? And there's AI artists that are getting commissions to make AI art images specifically because they're good at it. And they can make specific things, because not everyone can get specific results. It takes knowledge and talent with the technology to make it. And people like it because it's really good quality and it doesn't take as long and they can get it quicker. And that's just awesome for people who want to consume, and have awesome art, to have whatever they want. And so that made people lose their mind. And I think it stung particularly with artists because they want to feel like their opinion matters on it, when the larger consensus of this is that people are already accepting it. It's becoming more and more widespread. It's already integrated into Photoshop. People are using it more and more. Businesses are using it more and more. And it's basically the result. We're at a point where artists, you need to kind of get on board or get left behind. The technology is moving so fast, and crying about on Twitter doesn't achieve anything.
Let us know what you think in the comments below. And until then, stay on watch.